stop scrolling. Right now. Whatever you were about to click, whatever rabbit hole you were about to fall into next, I need you to plant your feet on this floor for the next few minutes. Because the post you are about to dissect is not a post. It is a confession letter dressed up in concert lighting. It is a courtroom transcript hiding behind a soft launch. And once your eyes register what mine just caught, you will never look at a tag photo the same way again. Because folks, I'm not here to gossip. I'm not here to recycle a tweet someone else already screenshotted. I'm not here to repeat what the algorithm has already chewed up and spit at you 10,000 times today. I'm here with a boarding pass. I'm here with a timestamp. I'm here with a seating chart that is screaming a name nobody on this app has had the nerve to whisper out loud. So pour something cold, lock the door, tell the kids you'll be back in a minute. Because what I'm about to walk you through is the single loudest empty chair in modern boxing history. And the woman who flew across state lines just to sit next to it. Her name is Claressa Shields. Two-time Olympic gold, undisputed across multiple weight classes, the most decorated American female fighter alive, a woman whose hands have written history in 3 different divisions. And on a night her entire business empire needed her standing on a stage in Atlanta, smiling for cameras, shaking hands with executives, doing the 7A press grind she'd been bragging about all week, she did the unthinkable. She slipped out the back door of her own career. She climbed into a jet. And she flew straight into another woman's husband's birthday-adjacent victory lap, like a ghost trying to haunt a house that already changed the locks. Now, before anyone in the comments starts typing, you don't know her life, let me cut the engine on that defense right here. This is not opinion. This is not vibes. This is not a hot take. I cooked up at 3 in the morning with no receipts. This is a paper trail, a flight log, a weigh-in card, a boarding manifest, and most lethal of all, a seating chart. Because the seating chart, my friends, the seating chart is the one piece of evidence in this whole circus that physically cannot lie. Captions can lie. Filters can lie. Old footage repackaged, as new footage can absolutely lie. But a chair either has a man in it or it doesn't. And on the night that mattered most, hers didn't. Let me set the scene one more time, so nobody can wiggle out of it. Salita Promotions. The machine. The same machine that built the Claressa Shields brand from the ground up. The same machine that funneled her into pay-per-view cards, signed her co-promotion deals, lit up her name on marquees, bought her the magazine covers, and walked her into rooms most fighters never see the door of. Salita Promotions had a card, a real one, a spotlight night, the kind of night where the face of the brand is supposed to be in the building, dressed up, mic'd up, locked in, smiling at the right people and laughing at the right jokes. And the face of the brand booked a flight, to a different city, to a different event, to a different man, to a seat next to a chair that nobody sat in. Process that for a second. Inhale it. Let it sit on your tongue. The face of the boxing company that pays for your house, prints your name in lights, and prepares your future was missing from her own showroom floor. Why? For a stool, for a concert clip, for a man who, when she finally arrived in the city, looked everywhere except at her. Now here's the part everyone on this app is fumbling. Everyone is dragging the dress. Everyone is dragging the hair. Everyone is doing the surface level read on her face in the front row. But none of them, and I mean none of them, are zooming in on the date. The date is the murder weapon. The date is the smoking gun. The date is what turns this from gossip into evidence. Because she did not fly out the day before. She did not fly out 2 days before. She did not wrap up her press obligations and then quietly slide out of town like a grown woman managing her schedule. She bailed mid-cycle. She bailed mid-momentum. She bailed mid-promotion. On the loudest, most photographed, most algorithm-friendly week in the year, she chose a row of seats with cameras pointed at over the row of seats with her business written on it. And here's the part that should make every executive in that building lose sleep. The press cycle she abandoned was not handed to her. It was scheduled around her. The interviews were lined up because her name moves units. The cameras were booked because her face sells subscriptions. The press passes were printed because the room expected the queen. And the queen mailed in a no-show on the most important week of her own quarter. You do not recover from that kind of optics in one Monday morning meeting. You do not undo that kind of damage with a polite apology and a smile. Because in this industry, every empty seat at the head table is a memo to every other promoter watching from a distance. And that memo reads as a single word: available. Available means poachable. Available means undervalued. Available means the next negotiation just got harder. The next sponsorship just got cheaper, and the next door just got a little heavier to push open. That is the real price tag stitched to the bottom of that boarding pass. and that is a receipt nobody on her grid is talking about. I want you to imagine the green room she was supposed to walk into that night. The hangers with her name taped on them. The mirrors lit up. The bottled water. The schedule taped to the door. The producer with a clipboard pacing the hallway looking at his phone for the 10th time, asking the assistant if they have heard back yet, while the assistant lies because the assistant has not heard a thing. Imagine the moment the room realized she was not coming. Imagine the silence that filled the space where her voice was supposed to be. Imagine the executives turned to each other and not saying a word. Because in those rooms, the loudest conversations are the ones that never make it past a glance. That glance is worth a million tweets. That glance is the kind of glance that ends careers. That glance is the seating chart starting to redraw itself in real time, with new names being penciled in over hers before a plane even touched the tarmac in the other city. And let's not pretend she flew somewhere private. Let's not pretend this was a quiet visit to a sick relative or a discreet trip to clear her head. She flew into the loudest, most filmed, most live-streamed room in the country that weekend, sat down in a chair that had been booked specifically so the internet would find her, and pressed record on her own phone. That is not romance. That is a press release with no PR team behind it. That is a one-woman documentary trying to convince the world of a relationship that the other person on the call sheet never signed up for. I want you to picture this with me. The lights, the bass, the crowd losing its mind. A camera pans. And there she is, our gold medal queen, recording the lighting rig like a tourist on her first cruise. Recording the decor. Recording the stage. Recording the crowd. Recording everything except the one thing a woman in love would record. The man. Where's the man? Where are the candid clips of him laughing at something she said? Where are the soft over-the-shoulder shots of him leaning in? Where's the hand on the small of her back? Where's the whisper in her ear? Where's the kiss on the temple? Where's the proof? I'll tell you where the proof is. It is at a different table. It is across the room. It is in a clip of him eating dinner with people who look suspiciously like his actual family. It is in a frame with a woman who claims him is invisible. It is in a body angled away from the very seat she paid thousands of dollars in jet fuel to occupy. He was in the same building. He was breathing the same air. And he could not be bothered to turn his head 90 degrees and acknowledge her existence. Sit with that. Really sit with that. Because that is not subtle. That is not shy. That is not him respecting his privacy. That is a man telling the entire planet, without saying a syllable, that the chair next to her is not his chair. You can market a scandal. You can market a feud. You can market a comeback. You cannot market an empty chair next to your star. That chair is the only word that matters tonight. And the word it spoke was no. Let me drag you deeper into that frame, because the frame deserves a forensic walkthrough. In a room that loud, with that many phones up, with that much ambient noise, every micro decision gets recorded by 100 angles whether you want it to or not. So somewhere out there, on someone's camera roll, sitting in a cloud backup folder that nobody has bothered to scrub yet, there's footage of him reaching for the salt while she leaned in a laugh at a joke he never heard. There is footage of him scrolling his own phone while she filmed the ceiling. There's footage of him turning his shoulder a full 45 degrees away from her the second the cameras stop pretending to look. That footage is going to leak. It always leaks. The internet has a long memory and a longer hard drive, and the people who shot those angles are not loyal to either of these names. They are loyal to engagement. And engagement loves nothing more than a candid shot of a soft launch landing face down in the runway. There's a phrase in boxing for a fighter who walks to the ring with a confident smile and steps into the ropes already defeated. They call it dead man walking. You can see it in the eyes before the bell. You can see it in the shoulders before the first jab. The crowd cannot see it, but the cornermen can. The judges can. The opponent can. And every time I look at the candid stills from that venue, I see a dead launch walking. I see a woman who already knows the answer to the question her phone is begging the algorithm to answer for her. I see a face performing certainty that her own body is refusing to back up. The smile is on duty. The eyes are off the clock. And the gap between those two things is the entire story. Now let's rewind, because if this was a one-time mistake, we could let it slide. We could call it a bad night. We could blame the jet lag, the schedule, the moon, anything. But this is the sequel, baby. And sequels only get greenlit when the original made a quiet kind of noise. Roll the tape back to his birthday weekend. Same playbook, different city. She flies in. She shows up. She posts. She tags. She positions herself just close enough to the family circle to look like she belongs in the photo album. And where does she sleep that weekend? Not in his home. Not in his mother's home. Not in a suite reserved for family. She sleeps in a rental. A short-term, app-booked, no keys to the house, eat your cereal alone in the morning rental. While the man whose birthday her plane was supposedly built around, spends the inner circle hours with the people he calls his real ones. Translate that for me. Translate that little detail into the language of a family that has been in the game for 2 decades. What does it mean when a man brings a woman to his city for his birthday and books her into a rental he doesn't visit? It means she is allowed in the lobby of his life, but never the living room. It means she can wave at the family portrait, but never sit for it. It means she is a guest with no key, a guest who has to check out by 11, a guest who pays for the privilege of being near a door that will never open all the way for her. That is not a fiancé arrangement. That is not a partner arrangement. That is hospitality with a velvet rope and a smile that says you have gone exactly as far as you are going. So why does she keep booking? Why does she keep boarding? Why does she keep posting? Here is the theory that turned the lock on this whole case for me. She is not flying because she's chosen. She is flying because she is afraid. She is flying because the second she's not in the room, another body might be. She is flying because there's a name floating in the rumor mill that she cannot bring herself to say out loud. And every time that name trends, the next plane ticket gets booked. The pattern is too clean. Old reunion clips of his wife resurface. The haters do what haters do. And within 24 hours, a location pin has hopped a state. Old, wifey energy, footage gets dug up from the archives, and her itinerary suddenly shifts. This is not affection. This is patrol. This is a perimeter check. This is a woman defending a fence that was never actually hers to begin with. And this is where I'm going to drop the name. Quietly, carefully, the same way the rumor mill has been dropping it. Kady. KDY. I'm not declaring anything. I'm not naming the other woman. I'm saying the name has been on the lips of the loudest T pages for weeks. And the second that name surfaces, a flight gets booked. Coincidence? Possibly. Pattern? Statistically, yes. And when patterns line up like this, it stops being a triangle and starts being a polygon. And in a polygon, you are not the queen. You are not the wife. You are not even the favorite. You are one of several sides, and the only one of those sides willing to bankrupt her own brand to keep getting drawn back onto the page. Let me tell you something about the women on the other sides of that polygon, because we're doing nobody any favors by pretending they are not there. They are watching this, not idly, not casually. They are watching with the kind of attention a chess grandmaster pays to a board. They are watching because every flight Claressa books is a free piece of intelligence about her own positioning. Every defensive post is a tell. Every recycled clip is a giveaway. The other women in the polygon do not need a private investigator. They have a public feed. They have a comment section. They have a girlfriend with a screen recorder. And while Claressa is spending money to chase a man, they are saving money by letting her chase him on camera. That is the cruelest math in this whole equation. The harder she flies, the easier their job gets. The louder she posts, the quieter they can move. The more she defends, the less they need to. She is paying the rent on her own surveillance. She is funding the case file her competition is building against her. And nobody, not a single soul in her camp, has had the heart to sit her down and tell her that the louder she pleads, the lighter their workload gets. You know what gets lost in the polygon? Geometry. You stop being able to draw a straight line. Every side touches another side. Every angle bends the next one. And the woman trying to convince herself she is the only one in the shape is the woman least likely to notice when a new side gets added behind her back. By the time she notices, the polygon has become a circle, and she is no longer a side at all. She is just a point on the curve. A pixel, a name that used to mean something in a room, she can no longer find on the map. Now, let's get into the soft launch itself, because soft launches usually whisper. Hers screamed. A real soft launch is a single dimly lit photo of 2 hands. Hers was a full production budget. Multiple angles, multiple captions, multiple posts. The kind of digital noise that does not come from a woman who is sure. It comes from a woman who is terrified. Confident women do not document. Confident women live. They show up, they sit down, they eat their meal, they go home. And the only proof you ever see is a tagged photo someone else took of them weeks later by accident. When the proof comes from the subject herself, in real time, on her own grid, in 3 different aspect ratios, that is not love. That is a court filing. That is exhibit A through Z. That is a woman who needs a timeline to corroborate a story the room itself refuses to back up. And here is the kicker that splits this whole charade in half. While she is filming the building, the man at the center of her exhibits is silent. No reposts, no tags, No reactions. No nothing. The defense is mute. Only the prosecution is talking. And the prosecution, in case anyone missed it, is her, against her own legacy, against her own bank account, against her own future, against the medals on her wall. The judge is the algorithm. The jury is the comment section. And the verdict was written the second she boarded that plane. I want to talk about the body language because the body language is the autopsy. Captions are easy. Captions are written. Captions can be edited at 4 in the morning when the shame hits. Bodies cannot. Bodies tell on you. And his body, all night, told on him. Shoulders angled away. Eyes tracking anywhere but her seat. Posture closed. Micro-expressions absent. A man who is in love does not need to be told to look. A man who is in love looks first, looks often, looks again. He did not look once. Not once in any frame the internet has been able to find. And the internet, my friends, has been looking. Trust me, if there was a single second of soft eye contact, a single second of his hand grazing hers, a single second of him leaning in to share a joke, it would be the most reposted clip on the app right now. It does not exist. The clip does not exist because the moment did not happen. The moment did not happen because the relationship the post is trying to sell is not the relationship the room actually contained. I want to introduce a piece of the puzzle nobody is mentioning. The hands. Watch the hands. In every blurry frame the fans have stitched together into a slideshow, watch where his hands are. Not on the table near hers. Not on the back of her chair. Not casually resting on the armrest between them. His hands are in his lap. His hands are around his own drink. His hands are on his own phone. His hands are doing absolutely anything except acknowledging the woman who paid for a jet to be next to them. Hands are the easiest tell in human body language. We can fake our faces. We can rehearse our smiles. We can even rehearse the way we tilt our heads. We cannot rehearse our hands. The hands always know where they are supposed to be. And when they refuse to go there, it is because the heart they belong to never gave them permission. His hands did not get the memo because the memo was never written. The memo was a fiction her camera roll has been trying to draft in real time. And the longer it drafts, the more obvious it becomes that the document has no signature at the bottom. And while we are on body language, let me say this. Real partners do not survive a long flight without touching when they finally land. You see it in airports every day. A couple walks off a plane, and within 30 seconds, somebody's hand finds somebody's back. Somebody's fingers find somebody's wrist. Somebody leans into somebody's shoulder while they wait for the bags. It is involuntary. It is gravitational. It is the body returning to its home base after hours of recycled air. Two people who flew across state lines to be in a room together do not sit in that room 3 feet apart with their hands in their own pockets. Unless one of them never agreed to be a couple in the first place. Unless one of them is there as a guest and not as a partner. Unless one of them is performing a script the other one never read. And that, more than the lights, more than the venue, more than the captions, is a part of the night that tells you exactly what room she was really in. Now let me drop a layer that I think most of you missed. The Remy Ma tribute clip, the one that's been pinging around the For You page like it dropped yesterday. Pause. Look closer. Look at the lighting. Look at the angle. Look at the outfit. Look at the production quality. Look at the captions. Look at the file. Because there's a very real conversation to be had about whether that tribute is current or whether it's being recirculated by fans who desperately want a legacy to still be alive. Fans will resurrect a marriage in the comment section that the principals stopped maintaining years ago. They will do it without permission. They will do it without context. They will do it just because the algorithm rewards a redemption arc. If that clip is old, and I am only saying if, then the entire battlefield rearranges itself overnight. If it is old, the public healing narrative is sand. If it is old, the smiles in the frame were already historical by the time the post hit your feed. I am not standing here with a metadata report. I am standing here with a question. And the people who do not want you asking the question are the same people whose bottom line depends on you scrolling past it. Let me also do something fair, because fairness matters in a courtroom, even when nobody else in the building is being fair. Papoose is not a saint in this story. Papoose has his own ledger. Win records, the network he is supposedly building, the empire he is supposedly stacking, the undercard nights, the marketing rooms, the boardrooms. On the night the empire needed him too, where was the empire CEO? At a concert, eating dinner, watching a show, performing the same disappearing act that his alleged shadow was performing across town. Both of them ditched their offices. Both of them showed up in a venue that paid neither of them. And neither of them is walking away from this looking like a winner. The only difference between them is the safety net. He has a marriage to fall back on, real or recycled. She has nothing to fall back on but the next boarding pass, the next overhead bin, the next baggage carousel where nobody is standing with a sign that has her name on it. I want to say something to the women watching this, because this is bigger than 2 famous people and 1 empty chair. There's a version of this story happening in 1,000 smaller cities right now. Different name, different airport, different married man. Same script. Women skipping their meetings to chase a brunch. Women bailing on their gym sessions to catch a flight. Women turning down a deal so they can stand in a kitchen that does not belong to them. Women buying outfits for events they were never actually invited to. Women filming a man's back like it is the cover of a magazine. And every single one of those women, when the lights go down and the phone finally gets put on silent, is signing the same blank check Claressa just signed in front of the entire planet. Your career does not pause for your heartbreak. Your dreams do not freeze in time while you spiral. The opportunity you skip tonight is the opportunity somebody else is sitting in tomorrow. And the worst part is, nobody will tell you. Nobody will warn you. Nobody will pull you aside. The world will just quietly hand your seat to the next woman in line and forget your name by the next quarter. Let me say a piece directly to the friend of the woman doing this, because a friend has a role in this story too. You know who you are. You are the one in the group chat. You are the one who has watched or booked the same kind of trip 3 times this year already. You are the one who liked the soft launch posts even though your stomach twisted while you double tapped. You are the one who has been swallowing the truth because the truth would make brunch uncomfortable. And I am here to tell you, with all the love I have in my chest, that swallowing the truth is not loyalty. Swallowing the truth is conspiracy. The kindest thing a real friend has ever done for another woman is to look her in the eyes and say the sentence nobody else in her life has been brave enough to say. He is not flying to you. He has never flown to you. He will never fly to you. And every plane ticket you keep buying is a vote against a version of you that does not need to be chosen by him to know she is worth choosing. If you cannot say that sentence, you cannot call yourself her friend. You can call yourself her audience. You can call yourself her enabler. You can call yourself her travel agent. But you cannot call yourself a friend, because friendship, real friendship, is the kind of love that risks the brunch. And before you tell me she will hate you for saying it, let me remind you what is waiting on the other side of her hating you. A woman who finally sleeps in her own bed for an entire weekend. A woman who finally answers her own work emails on time. A woman who finally takes her own meetings, signs her own deals, and walks into her own buildings without filming the doorway. A woman who is hated by you for 1 season and grateful to you for the rest of her life. The math is brutal, but it is honest. You either lose the friendship for a month and save her career, or you keep the friendship for a year and watch her career disappear in real time. Pick now, because the next plane ticket is already loading in her cart. Let me get back to the venue, because there is one detail that nobody is talking about, and it is the loudest detail of the night. She was recording the boxes, the seats, the crowd, the walls, the lighting rig, the merch, the aisles, the carpets, the ceilings, the screens. She was recording the room like she had never been in one before. And I'm not here to drag anyone for being excited at a show. We've all been there. But this is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. This is a woman who has walked into arenas with her name in lights. This is a woman who has fought in front of crowds bigger than this venue could hold. So why is she filming the carpet like a tourist? Because she does not feel like a tourist in her own arenas. She feels like a tourist in his. She is filming the walls because she does not believe she belongs inside of them. A woman who belongs does not document her arrival. She arrives. She sits. She leans back. She accepts a drink. She nods at the person next to her. She does not film the doorway. She walks through it. The fact that the doorway is in the footage at all is the entire confession. Let me ask you the question nobody on the timeline has had the spine to type out. If she stopped flying tomorrow, did she cancel the next ticket? Did she put the phone face down and let the rumors burn themselves out without a fresh post to fan the flames? Would he come find her? Would he fly to her? Would he show up at her gym? Would he sit in her front row? Would he post her? Would he tag her? Would he interrupt his own birthday to make sure she was in the room? You already know the answer. You knew the answer before I finished the sentence. And the silence in your chest right now, that quiet little drop in your stomach, that is the loudest piece of evidence in this entire case file. That is the verdict no flight log will ever print. That is the seating chart your gut just drew for you. The chair next to her is empty because the heart it belongs to was never on the manifest. So let's talk about what this really is. Because this isn't a love story. This isn't a soft launch. This isn't a triangle. This isn't even really about Papoose. Papoose is a symptom. The disease is older. The disease is the part of every woman that confuses proximity with being chosen. The part of every woman that mistakes presence for promise. The part of every woman that hears the word almost and tries to renovate into always. Claressa is not unique in this. She is just famous. She is just visible. She is just a version of this disease that has a verified blue check and a private jet on speed dial. And the rest of us are watching, half in horror, half in recognition, because we have all booked a version of that ticket. We have all sat in a chair that didn't have our name on it. We have all filmed a room we were never really invited into. The only difference is ours didn't end up on the algorithm's front page. Let me sharpen the scalpel one more time, because there's something else hiding in the footage that the fan edits keep cropping out. The way she walks in. Watch the entrance. Watch the first 3 seconds of every venue clip she posted. Her shoulders are pulled up toward her ears. Her chin is tucked half a centimeter lower than her usual ring walk. Her smile is wider than her eyes. These are not the postures of a queen claiming a throne. These are the postures of a woman walking into a room she has not been formally invited into and praying nobody asks her for the invitation at the door. Compare it to any walkout footage you have of her in a real boxing arena, the kind where her name is printed on the marquee, the kind where her camp is in the corner waiting. The walk is different. The posture is different. The chin is up. The shoulders are squared. The eyes are forward. Because in those rooms, she owns the floor. In this room, she was renting it. And rented floors always squeak underneath you in ways your own floors never do. The other thing nobody is saying is that the venue itself has a memory. Buildings remember who comes in and who goes out. The staff remembers. The bouncers remember. The runner who carries trays to the back hallway remembers who sat where, who paid for what, who tipped, and who acted like the room owed them something. There's a backstage version of this story circulating among people who have signed NDAs they will eventually find loopholes in. There always is. There's always a server. There's always a runner. There's always a cousin of a cousin who saw the seating chart before the seating chart got sanitized for press. And every one of those people has a phone. Every one of those phones has a notes app. Every one of those notes apps has a draft they have been too smart to publish yet. But drafts get published. They always do. And when this one drops, the version of the story we are dissecting tonight will look like the polite trailer for a much louder movie. Let me give you one more frame, and then we are landing this jet. Because I know your battery is dying and your dinner is getting cold. Look at the timeline of her post that weekend. Look at the order, the arrival clip, the venue clip, the food clip, the lights clip, and then somewhere deep in the night, a defensive post, a petty post, a clip back, a subtle clap at the haters. Look at the timestamp. That post went up while she was supposedly inside the moment. Read that twice. While she was inside what she wanted you to believe was the best night of her life, she was on her phone, scrolling her own mentions, drafting comebacks. A woman in love does not draft comebacks. A woman in love is busy being in love. The fact that she was busy defending it tells you everything you need to know about whether it was real. Real love does not need a stitch. Real love does not need a duet. Real love does not need a screenshot. Real love does not need a press cycle. Real love does not need to ditch its job. Real love does not need a Mother's Day weekend ambush. Real love sits at home, gets fed, gets thanked, gets kissed on the forehead, and goes back to building an empire because real love does not feel threatened by a name in a comment section. Real love sleeps. Real love rests. Real love does not buy plane tickets at 3 a.m. with shaking hands and a depleted battery. Now zoom all the way out. Olympic gold. World titles. The first true female crossover star of the modern boxing era. A woman who could have changed what every little girl in every dusty gym in this country thought was possible. Hands that wrote history. A name that opened doors. A face on every cover that mattered. A future as a promoter, as a mogul, as a builder that could have rewritten the math for the next generation of fighters who look like her. Stacked, round by round, scar by scar, 5 a.m. by 5 a.m. Empty gym by empty gym. Bloody mouthpiece by bloody mouthpiece. And then on a single Mother's Day weekend, with a single boarding pass and a single seat at a single show, the whole tower wobbled. Not because she lost a fight. She did not lose a fight. She won the fight that was scheduled for her body. She lost the fight that was scheduled for her soul. And that is the only fight a champion truly cannot afford to lose, because the body bounces back from a clean shot. The soul does not always bounce back from an empty chair. I want to talk to the little girls for a second, not the grown women. The little girls, the 11-year-olds, the 14-year-olds, the ones who got their first pair of gloves last Christmas because their mama saw a Claressa Shields interview on the news and thought, my baby could do that one day. Those little girls are watching too. They might not be in the comments yet, but they have phones, and their cousins have phones, and the algorithm does not check IDs at the door. So when the queen of the sport books a flight away from her own promotional empire to sit next to a man whose chair stays empty, the little girls see it. They might not have words for what they're seeing, but the image lands, and the image teaches, and the image quietly whispers a lesson into the back of their developing brains. The lesson is that no matter how high you climb, no matter how many medals you stack, no matter how many cameras follow you, there will come a night when you trade it all for a stool. The next generation of girls in this sport deserves a different lesson. The next generation deserves to see a queen who stays at her own table, who eats her own meal, who finishes her own press cycle, who walks out her own building with her own people clapping, who never feels the urge to film the doorway because she already owns the door. If we're going to break this cycle, we are going to have to start telling the truth about it on platforms exactly like this one. Not because we hate the women caught in it, because we love the girls watching them. Because every empty chair we let go viral without a counter narrative is an empty chair the next generation is going to feel entitled to sit next to. And those chairs are quiet little factories that mass produce a very specific kind of regret. The regret that wakes you up at 4 a.m, decades later, holding a phone, scrolling through old posts, try to remember whether the trip was worth what it cost. The answer is almost never yes. But by the time you can answer the question, the chair has already moved on. The building has already been demolished, and the name on the boarding pass has been forgotten by everyone except the woman who paid for it. Here's the question I want you to carry with you when you close this app tonight. Not the Claressa question. The you question. Where is your jet? Where is your Atlanta? Where is your Salita Promotions card? Where's the room you are skipping out on this weekend? Because some part of you is convinced you have to be somewhere else, sitting next to someone else, performing for someone else's algorithm. Because if you cannot answer that question right now, with a name and a date, and a flight you almost booked, you are not watching this story. You are starring in your own version of it. And the only difference between you and her is that nobody has tagged your empty chair yet. So here's what we're going to do. You are going to drop a comment. Not first, not an emoji, a real comment. Tell me the one detail in this whole mess that broke your heart. Tell me the one moment where you saw yourself in the footage. Tell me the friend you need to send this video to before she books her own version of this trip this weekend. Because you have one, we all have one, and she is one boarding pass away from her own empty chair. Tag her, send it, slide it into the group chat. Make her watch every minute. Because the women in our lives don't usually need a lecture. They need a mirror. And tonight, this is the mirror. I am going to keep counting the jets. I am going to keep reading the seating charts. I am going to keep tracking who is eating what, sitting where, posting which old clip, as if it were new. The next time a chair stays empty, I will be back. We will add another date to the file. We will add another name. We will add another silence. We will add another late-night defensive post to the timeline. Until somebody learns. Until the cycle breaks. Until a woman finally stays in her own city long enough to remember she built it. Hit the follow button so the next chapter does not float past you. Hit the like button so the algorithm knows we're not afraid to talk about the things the bigger pages are too scared to touch. Share this with a friend who needs it the most, even if it makes her mad, especially if it makes her mad, because the friends who get mad first are the friends who heard you the loudest. And remember, stay in your own city until your city is built. Stay in your own ring until the bell actually rings. Stay in your own light, because an empty chair at the end of every night tells a louder story than any room you've ever walked into. Stay loud, stay sharp, stay home if home is where the work is waiting. And the next time a plane ticket calls your name in the middle of the night, ask yourself one last question before you click confirm. Is the seat I'm flying to actually mine? Or am I just renting it again? Because the answer to that question is the difference between a champion and a cautionary tale. And every empty chair is already picked a side. Choose yours. Stay firm. Because firmness is the only currency that survives the algorithm. Firmness is the only thing a jet cannot buy you. Firmness is the only thing a soft launch cannot fake. Firmness is what was missing from her chair tonight. And firmness is the only thing that can put a real human back in the seat next to yours. Stay firm. Stay home. Stay yours. And when the next boarding pass shows up in your notifications, remember the woman in the front row filming the ceiling, and choose differently. Choose the room you built. Choose the chair you earned. Choose the silence that belongs to you instead of the silence somebody else handed you for free. Stay firm.